Well, hello everyone and welcome to the woods along the River Tay in Burnham. And just so that you guys can see, because I can't see on the camera very well, but somewhere over there, with where you can see the sticks holding it up the branches, that is the famous Burnham oak, and we are stood next to its young pretender. So I'm just going to give you a heads up. There we go. It is absolutely huge. So I've just got, this is one of my Arteza watercolour pads. So this is the little 5x7 pad. And actually, I just had this out because I wanted to draw, but I wanted to also include water. So I thought I'd bring it with me and just sketch on this, mostly because I can't find my Royal Talons. I've packed it away somewhere for a house viewing and now I can't find it. So we're going to just do some sketches down here today and see what we get, really. Absolutely love these trees because they are so gorgeous. So yeah, this is a medium charcoal woodless pencil. And yeah, I'm starting with the stupid detail, this really dark hole in the middle. And then working out from there, because from there we've got this huge, I'm going to call them cankers, I think they're called cankers, where they're not really, I don't think they're classed as cancerous growths on the tree, but at the same time they do kind of form a kind of cancerous style growth. That branch goes off that way, and then there's a second kind of lump coming up behind it, so we're just going to bring the shoulder in and up there and then that way. The idea is I don't want to spend too long on these, so what I'm looking for is just pulling some information out. This comes in there, and then that comes up. I'm very well aware that if it wasn't for the tree, I'd probably be getting wet right now. And this comes out and up, and then actually almost immediately cuts across there. This one actually is coming in front of us, but that's really hard to tell because of the angle. I mean, it's very, very kind of twisty and gnarly, this tree, which I think is actually part of its charm. It's an old tree, and I'll show you the description plate on it. But at the same time, it's also, that goes up that way, but it also has this weird knotty lump there. It kind of comes down like that, and then back here we've got part of the main trunk going up, and that's the main trunk going up there. This kind of comes down. It's kind of starting to sort of make sense. And then in, and then back up. There's this wonderful kind of knot here, this perfectly round knot. This kind of comes down and out. And there's another kind of canker here. And this kind of comes down and forms the bulbous here. That comes up. That kind of comes up and forms that bit there. It's great to have these old trees because they form such a great kind of part of the ground and the history here. And the Burnham oak, for those of you that don't know, is famous because it features in Macbeth, and it is believed that this is where the witches were in Macbeth. that goes that way. Right, now we're going to start adding some kind of loose shading. Like I said, I don't want this to take too long. And hopefully you guys can see a fair bit of what I'm doing in the tree at the same time. I've got all this moss growing on the tree here. Now, what is it they say about moss? They say something about the direction of the sunlight, don't they? Like, you know which way is north depending on which side of the tree the moss is growing. I don't know if that's completely true, but it would kind of make sense to me. That's more rounded. Very much in the shadow at the bottom there, as that comes down. And you got this bit comes that way, and that bit goes that way, and this bit's got moss growing up the main tree trunk on that side. Can't see, but there's another branch there, which we'll just plop in there. And then we've got this weird growth going on here. I'm not going to call it a canker because it's not smooth. It's further up, so up there. I'm going to go, right, some light shading here. As we come into this, it's kind of like little sections. It gets kind of more knobbly as it goes down. And then the rain came on. And there's all these little kind of bits here that comes in. And then this moss, which really does kind of continue up there. It's kind of darker on that bit there. And then there's a little bit there as that comes up. There's a kind of weird lump there, but we can largely ignore that. Now this bit here is a bit darker, and the same under there as we get our shape. And then as that bit comes down, it's darker, obviously, this side of the canker here, and that comes up into moss. Again, no surprise. But if there's moss on this side and there's moss on the far side of that one, then thinking that possibly we may just dispel that myth about being able to tell which direction is north from that. And that's this elbow on this tree. This tree branch kind of comes up. It's actually coming towards me, as you can see. I'll just kind of work out. I'm going to bring that down a wee bit more to there, I think, because that makes a bit more sense there. And of course it's darker up here. We haven't had any squirrels visit while doing this, which is also good, because they can be a bit of a problem sometimes. So we want the moss up there, but we don't want it we do want this dark to there. And obviously it's very dark on this side, Just want to get that little bit there. Kind of dig into that canker a bit more. I've got my water brush with me, so I will be adding water. This branch is completely covered in moss. I can hear some kids down by the river doing something they probably shouldn't be, but you know, we will just ignore them. It's like a gorgeous crack right there. Okay, is it me, or does that now look like bum cheeks? I do apologise. It was unintentional. I'm going to bring that down. I think that needs to come down a wee bit more. And again, that half is covered in moss. And the moss comes down to there. Just making sure I get some of these little divots and bits and pieces in, because they just add to all the charm. And we've got the other branch, which is back here, which I'm just going to put in there. It's a little bit darker there, which is good, because that kind of helps there. And then this one, obviously, it's still dark on the back side, and then it kind of curves like that. Again, it's got a couple of these little round things, probably where branches are broken off in the storms. There's been a fair bit of that recently, so that's kind of to be expected. And then you've got this branch here, which we'll just cut in there. I've forgotten what I was doing with this one up here now. Just making sure it's kind of dark enough for where it's going. And all this moss. So I'm trying to keep the bark light. The main trunk behind is actually quite light in colour. There's this little bit of moss here, and then that's about it. So that's really all we're going to do for that. This bit down here is dark. So we've got this weird bit that we were working on earlier, and I just don't think I put enough details in. It's really dark centre, like that. And then it's got all these little bits kind of around it, like that. I'm actually getting dripped on now. There's enough rain that the tree's now dripping on me. How dare it? Right, let's get back to this one. We've got all this moss on this one. It's dark on the bottom of this round bit here. It does kind of disappear into the moss. We've got this shape here, which just seems odd, and then that one there. And as we come down, we've got, oh, I need to do all this. This is really dark, also quite fun. Some little details here, like that. You can see the water hitting the page now. I'm getting wet. The painting's getting wet. Doesn't matter. That's a sketch more than a painting. And that comes under there. I need to make these a bit more forceful, I think. They really do dig into that section there. As this comes down. And then, oh, I love the smell. Something, I don't know about any of you guys. Maybe you can tell me and see if you agree with me, but there's something about the smell in woodlands after it's rained, and it's such a beautiful kind of earthy smell. It has damp notes, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it smells of the wild, it smells of freedom and nature, and an annoying guy with a leaf blower. But I'm sure you guys understand and know what I mean. There's just something about it. Right, that bit comes up and round. It does that. And then this bit here, a little bit dark there. There's actually some moss on that side. Oh, there's a wet bit there. Getting a distinct impression that this rain, which should move on shortly, it is getting lighter. So I'm hoping that, as I said to the couple, it's just getting there. We've got this another big old canker here, down at the bottom here. I've got part of that comes off. Actually, we'll make it bigger and come here. Yeah, that's slightly out of shape, but I don't mind. It's like a little V here. It's very cute. That kind of goes that way. There's actually this darker section here. And that's where the root goes that way. Got a scratchy bit in this charcoal for some reason. This has got a really nice kind of dark bit here, which comes down like that. There's lots of lines at this point that are coming down the tree. Oh, look, more moss on the edge there. Let's put that in. And there's some here. There's also like a tiny little kink here. It kind of goes up like that. So there isn't actually a lot going on at the bottom here. I don't want to make it up. Wouldn't be fair to the tree, even if it is the pretender. How's that looking? What do you think, peeps? Robin. Don't think you guys caught that on camera. It's a shame. But yeah, just come up to the signpost next to me and stopped to say hello. So I'm just getting water on now. And yes, these things take me a lot longer than planned, courtesy of people, but I don't mind. And yeah, I'm using a flathead brush instead of instead of around. And I do that because rather than carrying multiple brushes, it's actually easier for me because I can get a lot of the texture and stuff without having to really worry about it. And the wide frame of the flat brush works really well because I can turn it on its side if I want something nice and narrow. So that's all the moss, same there. Just going to do some lines. Oh, there's moss there. And that's the back branch on that one. And we got this little one here. Honestly, I don't know what it is, but every time I go out to paint, there is somebody with a leaf blower or a chainsaw. It's like, come on, guys, give me a break here. I'm trying to do art. You know, be nice for my audiences to hear the birds and the water and the rustling of the leaves rather than the chainsaw. So I'm just dry brushing some lines in here so that it looks a little bit more liney. Being told off by the robin now. Thank you.
How's this coming on? They saw you on the way along. Oh, that's lovely.
There you go.
Well
Hi.
done. Well done.
Enjoy the rest of your walk. I suppose you could say that is one of the fun things about outdoor painting. It's just all the people. And you could say part of it's gratification, but actually, do you know what? I don't think it's gratification. I think it's more to do with just, I like people being interested, and if I can interest them in my art, then why not? In some respects, I just don't know if this side of the tree is dark enough. Oh, and now I've got a walking group. So, in case you're wondering, here is the plaque. See if I can get that to focus on it for you. There we go. So this is the sycamore. And in some ways, I almost prefer it. There we go.